All right, so listen to this. We're going deep on a mystery today that'll make you kind of question everything you thought you knew about alien science and maybe even like human evolution itself. Have you ever heard of the Atacama Alien?
It's one of those cases that really captures the imagination. It does this 6-inch skeleton. They found it in the Atacama Desert of Chile back in 2003, and it sparked all these wild theories about alien life. But the story goes way beyond just speculation.
Okay, so paint the picture for me. What do they find and where?
So we're talking about the Atacama Desert. It's one of the driest places on Earth. I mean, it's so desolate that scientists actually use it to simulate Martian conditions. And in this very otherworldly landscape, there's this amateur collector, some might even say grave robber. His name was Oster Munoz, and he discovered a leather pouch. And inside, wrapped in white cloth, was this tiny skeletal figure with features unlike anything really seen before.
Wait, hold on. A tiny skeleton in a leather pouch in the middle of the desert. That sounds like we're talking about something straight out of Indiana Jones. No wonder people jumped right to the alien conclusion.
Absolutely. I mean, the skeleton's elongated skull, it was missing ribs, it had these unusual proportions, and of course it fueled immediate speculation about maybe it being extraterrestrial origins. Plus, this wasn't just some, dusty museum find. The skeleton changed hands. It actually ended up with a private collector in Spain, which added to the mystique. And get this, it even got featured in a documentary by a well-known ufologist, which of course only amplified the hype.
All right, so we have a mysterious discovery. We've got a far-out location. We've got a good dose of media buzz. Sounds like we have the perfect recipe for a global obsession. But where does the science come in? Did anyone actually study this alien skeleton?
And that's where things take a very fascinating turn. So in 2012, a Stanford immunologist named Gary Nolan, he decided to get to the bottom of this. So he got hold of X-ray images. He even got bone marrow samples directly from that Spanish collector. And he conducted a DNA analysis. And the results were, well, they're surprising on multiple levels.
Okay, so did the DNA confirm it was an alien after all?
Not quite. The analysis actually proved that the skeleton was human, more specifically female. The bone density suggested that she was about 68 years old at the time of death. However, her tiny size and a staggering 64 genetic mutations some never documented before. Well, they left scientists scratching their heads.
So not an alien, but still a total anomaly. That's mind-blowing. It's like scientists were handed a puzzle they never really expected to solve. What were people's reactions to this news? Were they disappointed it wasn't ET?
I think there was definitely a mix of reactions. Some people were definitely let down that the alien theory was debunked, while others were just captivated by the sheer strangeness of the scientific findings. It really challenged what we thought we knew about human genetics and the range of variations that are actually possible.
So what's the takeaway for you here?
Well, I think the Atacama Alien highlights how much we still don't know about human genetics and the incredible variation that's possible.
Yeah.
You know, it's a reminder that science is always evolving. There's always something new to discover.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a great example of how science can both answer and generate questions simultaneously. Because while that DNA analysis confirmed the skeleton's humanity, it also raised a whole host of new mysteries, particularly surrounding the skeleton's very unusual bone development. Okay, let's unpack that. What was so strange about the bones?
Well, the most perplexing finding was the advanced maturation of the skeleton's epiphyseal plates. Now, for those who aren't familiar, epiphyseal plates or growth plates are areas of cartilage near the ends of long bones that are responsible for bone lengthening. And they're crucial for growth during childhood and adolescence.
So you're saying that for a 6-8-year-old, her growth plates looked way too mature for her age and size.
Precisely. It's like her skeletal development was on fast-forward Nolan, the scientist who led the study. He suggested that these mutations were actually responsible for this accelerated bone growth, and that's where it gets really interesting.
Because if we can understand how these mutations impact bone growth, could that lead to breakthroughs in treating bone disorders? Or even understanding how to manipulate growth in general?
That is the huge question. The Atacama Alien might hold clues to understanding bone growth disorders and developmental anomalies. It's like nature conducted its own experiment, and we have this incredibly rare opportunity to learn from it.
It's almost poetic in a way. This tiny skeleton, found in the most desolate place on Earth, it might hold the key to unlocking secrets about human growth and development. Talk about a scientific plot twist.
But of course, where there's mystery, there are bound to be more speculative theories as well.
I'm all ears. Let's hear them.
Well, remember how Chile is considered a UFO hotspot? Some folks theorize that the Atacama Alien could be evidence of extraterrestrial hybridization experiments gone wrong.
Hold on. So they're suggesting that aliens were messing around with human DNA, and this skeleton was the result. That's a pretty wild idea.
It is. But it's important to remember that this is purely speculation. There's no scientific evidence to support it. While it's a fascinating thing to consider, we have to maintain a critical eye and focus on what the evidence tells us.
Okay, so alien hybrid theory debunked. What other ideas were floating around out there?
Well, another theory that emerged was that this wasn't an alien, or even a human with unusual mutations, but a time traveler from the future.
Whoa, a time traveler. Now, that's something I haven't heard before. So how does that theory work?
Well, think about it. What if in the future, human evolution takes a drastic turn, and it leads to shorter gestation periods, babies born more developed, and incredibly accelerated bone growth? It's a wild theory, but it does make you wonder if this skeleton is a glimpse into our evolutionary destiny.
It's like something out of a science fiction novel. Imagine a woman giving birth to a baby that's already physically developed like a 6-year-old. The societal implications alone would be massive.
It really sparks the imagination. It does. What would such a society look like? How would our understanding of childhood development and even the human lifespan change? The Atacama Alien, even if not a time traveler, forces us to confront these fascinating questions.
And it underscores that what we consider normal human development might just be a snapshot in time. Who knows what the future holds for our species? But let's not get too carried away with time travel just yet. We have a lot more to uncover about the Atacama Alien.
Indeed. Remember that 2012 study we talked about? Well, in 2018, another research team challenged those initial conclusions. They offered a different perspective on the Atacama Alien. So this new study argued that a lot of the features they first attributed to alien origins or like bizarre mutations could actually be explained by just like more natural phenomena. They said that like the skull deformation, for instance, could have been from just the pressures of birth.
Interesting. So instead of like pointing to something extraterrestrial or some unheard of genetic anomaly, they're saying it could be as simple as just like the birthing process. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What else did they suggest?
They also said that the skeleton's appearance, like its mummified state, could be significantly influenced by that extremely dry desert environment. You know, the Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth. Bodies decompose very differently there.
Right, it's like a natural mummification process.
Right.
So are they suggesting that the unusual appearance of the skeleton was more about preservation than some kind of genetic quirk?
Exactly. And ultimately, this 2018 study concluded that the Atacama Alien was likely a premature human fetus that died shortly after birth.
So we've gone from alien to time traveler to essentially a premature baby who, because of the harsh desert conditions, ended up looking far more unusual than she actually was.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big shift in perspective. Does that mean the mystery solved then? Case closed.
Well, not quite. While the premature fetus explanation is certainly plausible, it doesn't entirely account for all the skeletal anomalies observed, particularly the accelerated bone maturation.
That's right. We can't just forget about those incredibly mature growth plates. So where does that leave us? Back to square one.
Not necessarily. This back and forth between studies just beautifully illustrates how science works. It's a process of ongoing investigation, debate, and refinement. New evidence emerges, theories are challenged, and our understanding evolves over time.
It's like putting together a giant cosmic puzzle.
Right.
Each study adds a new piece, and we slowly start to see a clearer picture, even if it's not always the picture we initially expected.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting. It reminds us that even in the age of advanced genetic analysis, there are still mysteries to unravel, secrets waiting to be discovered.
So we have this premature baby with incredibly advanced bone development and a whole bunch of genetic mutations never seen before. Where do scientists go from here? What are they looking at now?
Well, a pediatric radiologist named Ralph Lackman, he weighed in on the findings, and he stated that while dwarfism could explain some of the features, it couldn't account for everything. It just seemed like there was still more to the story.
So dwarfism alone wasn't enough to explain it all. Okay, so what other factors are they considering?
Oh, remember Nolan, the Stanford scientist who conducted the initial DNA analysis. In 2018, he published further research that shed new light on the mystery. His findings confirmed that the Atacama Alien had a rare bone aging disorder in addition to those dwarfism-related mutations.
So a combination of a rare bone aging disorder and mutations linked to dwarfism. That's a pretty unique combination, isn't it?
It is. In fact, the sheer number of mutations affecting skeletal development was unprecedented. It made the skeleton truly one of a kind.
Wow, a 1 in a billion discovery. It makes you wonder what other rare genetic variations are out there just shaping human development in ways we haven't even begun to imagine.
It's a reminder of how complex and multifaceted human genetics are. There's still so much we don't understand about the interplay of genes, mutations, and environmental factors in shaping who we are.
Okay, so Even though we haven't cracked the code entirely, we've come a long way from aliens and time travelers.
Mm.
We now know that the Atacama alien was most likely a premature human fetus with a very rare combination of genetic conditions, further complicated by the unique preservation conditions of the Atacama Desert. But even with all the science, there's still a part of the story that just captures the imagination, isn't there?
Absolutely. The Atacama Alien, despite being scientifically explained, continues to fascinate people. Images of it still circulate online. They often appear in articles about aliens and unexplained phenomena.
It's like, even though we know the rational explanation, there's a part of us that wants to believe in something more extraordinary, something beyond our current understanding. Why do you think that is?
I think it speaks to a deep-seated human desire for the unknown. We're fascinated by mysteries, by the possibility of things beyond our comprehension. It's what drives exploration, scientific inquiry, and even our creativity.
It's like that spark of curiosity, that wonder about what else might be out there. It's a fundamental part of being human.
Exactly. And the Atacama Alien, with its unusual appearance and the initial speculation surrounding it, it tapped into that sense of wonder. It provided, for a moment, a glimpse into a world beyond the familiar, even if that world turned out to be more grounded in science than we initially thought.
It's a good reminder that reality can be just as strange and wondrous as fiction. But speaking of strange and wondrous, you mentioned earlier that Chile is a UFO hotspot. What's the story there? What makes this area such a magnet for those seeking the extraterrestrial?
Well, the Atacama Desert, with its vast emptiness and incredibly clear night skies, has long been a focal point for UFO enthusiasts and those seeking evidence of alien life. There are countless reports of strange lights, unexplained phenomena, and even alleged alien encounters in the region.
Whoa, really? So what are we talking about here? People seeing little green men running around or spaceships landing in the desert? Give me the details.
Well, there's this famous story about a group of miners who claim to have seen this large, disc-shaped object hovering over their worksite, bathing the area in this eerie blue light. They said the object remained motionless for several minutes before suddenly shooting off into the night sky.
Okay, that's a pretty chilling image.
Yeah.
What other kinds of encounters have people reported?
There's another account of a group of hikers who stumbled upon a series of strange symbols etched into the desert floor. The symbols were unlike anything they'd ever seen before, and some believe they could be evidence of ancient alien communication.
Ancient alien messages in the desert? Sounds like something straight out of Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
But are these stories just that, stories, or is there any actual evidence to back them up?
That's the tricky part. Many of these accounts rely on eyewitness testimony, which, as we know, can be unreliable. Physical evidence is scarce and often open to interpretation. But the persistence of these stories passed down through generations suggests that something unusual might be happening in the Atacama.
It's like that saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe not literal fire in this case, but definitely something intriguing. It's not just Chile, right?
Yeah.
UFO sightings and alien encounters are reported all over the world. What do you make of all that? Is it all just our imaginations running wild? Or could there be something more to it?
It's a question that has captivated humanity for centuries. While much of what is reported can be attributed to misidentification, natural phenomena, or even hoaxes, there remains a small percentage of cases that defy easy explanation.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. What if some of these unexplained sightings are actually glimpses into other dimensions? We talked about time travel earlier, but what if there are other realities existing alongside our own? And occasionally these realities intersect.
You're venturing into the realm of the interdimensional hypothesis. It's a concept that has gained traction among some scientists and researchers. The idea is that there could be other dimensions unseen and undetectable to us that occasionally bleed through into our own reality.
Mind-blowing. So those strange lights, those unexplainable objects people see, could they be visitors from these other dimensions?
It's a possibility, albeit one that is incredibly difficult to prove. Our current scientific understanding is limited when it comes to the concept of multiple dimensions.
This is why I love deep dives. So much to think about. But back to the Atacama Alien for a sec. Even though science has offered a pretty solid explanation for what it is, a human fetus with a rare bone disorder, people are still drawn to the alien theory. Why do you think that is?
It speaks to our deep-seated curiosity about the unknown. The idea of extraterrestrial life, of beings from other worlds, it has captivated human imagination for centuries. It's reflected in our mythology, our literature, our films. It's a universal fascination.
Totally. I mean, who hasn't looked up at the stars and wondered if we're truly alone in this vast universe? And the Atacama Alien, with its unusual appearance, it provided a tangible, albeit ultimately debunked, piece of evidence for those seeking to believe.
It's also important to remember that for many, the search for extraterrestrial life goes beyond simple curiosity. It's a quest for meaning, for understanding our place in the grand scheme of things.
Right. It makes you wonder, if we ever did encounter an alien civilization, how would it change our understanding of ourselves, of our world, of everything? Would it unify us as a species, or would it create chaos?
That's a question with no easy answers. It would undoubtedly be the most significant event in human history. It would challenge our beliefs, our values, our very perception of reality. The impact would be profound and unpredictable.
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of hoping for a peaceful Star Trek-esque first contact, sharing technology, exploring the galaxy together. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It's a hopeful vision, but it's important to approach such possibilities with a healthy dose of realism. First contact, if it ever happens, could just as easily be a source of conflict as it could be a catalyst for cooperation.
True, true. But hey, a deep diver can dream right. But let's not forget the ethical implications here. What rights would an alien civilization have? How would we treat them? Would we even recognize them as intelligent beings?
These are all crucial questions that we as a species need to start grappling with now. It's not just about preparing for the possibility of first contact. It's about ensuring that we approach it with wisdom, compassion, and a deep respect for life in all its forms.
You know, it's kind of humbling to think about it. Right. Here we are debating the existence of aliens, analyzing a 6-inch skeleton from the desert, while the vast universe stretches out around us, full of untold wonders and mysteries. It makes you realize how much we still have to learn, how much we still don't know.
And that's the beauty of science, of exploration of the human spirit. We're driven to seek answers, to push the boundaries of knowledge, to understand our place in the cosmos. The Atacama Alien, in its own way, is a testament to that enduring quest.
Beautifully put. And you know what else is cool about the Atacama Desert? It's not just a hotbed for UFO sightings. It's also home to some of the most advanced astronomical observatories in the world. Talk about a remarkable convergence of scientific pursuits in one location.
Indeed, the Atacama Desert, with its high-altitude dry air and minimal light pollution. It offers ideal conditions for astronomical observation. Telescopes in the Atacama have made groundbreaking discoveries, pushing the boundaries of our understanding of the universe.
Like what kind of discoveries? Give me some cosmic highlights.
Well, for one, they've played a crucial role in the detection and characterization of exoplanets, planets that orbit stars other than our sun. Some of these exoplanets even lie within what's called the habitable zone, meaning they could potentially support liquid water and perhaps even life.
Whoa, that's insane. So while some folks are searching for aliens in the desert itself, others are using high-powered telescopes to scan the skies for signs of life on distant worlds. It's like two sides of the same cosmic coin.
It's a testament to the multifaceted nature of scientific inquiry. We're exploring the universe both on a grand cosmic scale and on a more intimate, localized level.
I'm curious. You spend your days studying the cosmos, analyzing data from these incredible telescopes. Do you ever, just for a moment, let yourself wonder if there's someone somewhere out there looking back at us?
It's a thought that crosses my mind more often than I care to admit. The sheer vastness of the universe, the countless stars and galaxies, it makes it statistically improbable that we are alone.
Right. It's almost arrogant to think that we're the only intelligent life out there. But if we're not alone, what does that mean for us? What does it mean for our understanding of existence?
Those are questions that philosophers and theologians have been pondering for millennia. The discovery of extraterrestrial life, especially intelligent life, would undoubtedly challenge our most deeply held beliefs about our place in the universe.
It's like that Carl Sagan quote. The universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space. I love that.
It speaks to the profound implications of such a discovery. It would force us to reevaluate our place in the cosmic order, to acknowledge that we are not the center of all creation.
It's like that moment in history when we realized that the Earth wasn't the center of the solar system. It completely shifted our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
Precisely. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would be equally, if not more, transformative. It would force us to confront our own limitations, our own biases, our own assumptions about the nature of reality.
It's almost too much to wrap your head around. But let's bring it back down to Earth for a moment. We've talked about the Atacama Alien UFO sightings, other dimensions, even the search for exoplanets. But there's another cosmic phenomenon that's been making headlines lately: solar storms. And guess what? Chile's got a front row seat to those too.
Ah, solar storms. They're a reminder that the sun, our life-giving star, can also be a source of immense power and potential danger.
Okay, so break it down for me. What exactly are solar storms, and why should we care about them?
Solar storms occur when the sun releases this massive burst of energy in the form of solar flares and coronal mass ejections. These eruptions send a stream of charged particles hurtling toward Earth at incredible speeds.
So if these charged particles hit Earth, what kind of real-world effects are we talking about? Paint a picture for me. What would this look like for everyday people?
Well, when these charged particles interact with Earth's magnetic field, they can cause all sorts of havoc. They can disrupt radio communications, damage satellites, and even knock out power grids, leading to widespread blackouts and technological disruptions. Imagine a world suddenly without internet, GPS, or even reliable electricity. That's the potential impact of a major solar storm.
Wow, that's some serious doomsday stuff.
And you're saying Chile is particularly vulnerable to these solar storms. Why is that?
Chile's location, particularly the Atacama Desert, makes it especially susceptible to the effects of solar storms. The region's high altitude and proximity to Earth's magnetic poles create a sort of funnel effect, intensifying the impact of these solar events.
So not only are they searching for aliens and studying the stars, but they're also dealing with the potential threat of solar storms. Chileans must feel like they're living in a sci-fi movie. It's fascinating how all these seemingly disparate cosmic phenomena converge in one place.
It's a reminder that even as we explore the vastness of space, we must also be mindful of the powerful forces at play within our own solar system. And it brings up another important question. As we become increasingly reliant on technology, how do we protect ourselves from these cosmic events? What can we do to mitigate the damage of a major solar storm?
That's a challenge that scientists and engineers are actively working on. Developing more resilient power grids, hardening satellites against radiation, and creating early warning systems. These are all crucial steps in preparing for the inevitable.
It sounds like we need to find a balance between pushing the boundaries of technology and understanding and respecting the powerful forces of nature both here on Earth and out in space. But while we're gazing up at the stars, searching for signs of alien life, we also need to keep a close eye on our own sun. It's a delicate dance, isn't it?
It's about understanding our place within the cosmic web, recognizing that we are both observers of the universe and participants in its intricate dance.
This deep dive has been quite the journey. From a tiny skeleton in the Atacama Desert to the vast expanse of the cosmos, we've covered a lot of ground. But there's one more piece of this puzzle I want to touch on.
Oh, and what's that?
We've talked about how the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth. What's up with that? And what will it mean for us Earthlings in the long run?
It's a fascinating phenomenon, really. The moon is moving away from us at a rate of about 3.8 centimeters per year. It's a consequence of the gravitational interaction between Earth and the moon.
Wait, the moon is getting further away? Does that mean one day it's just going to, peace out of our solar system? Sayonara, Earthlings?
Not quite that dramatic. The process is incredibly slow, but over millions of years, this gradual drift will have some noticeable effects. For one, our days will get longer.
Longer days. Sign me up. More time for deep dives. But seriously, how will that work?
The moon's gravitational pull is what creates tides on Earth. As the moon moves further away, its influence on our planet's rotation weakens, causing Earth's spin to slow down. This means that eventually a day on Earth could last for weeks or even months.
Whoa, that's trippy. Imagine a day that lasts for months. Talk about a long work week. But what about the tides? Will they disappear altogether?
Tides will still exist, but they'll be much weaker. The gravitational influence of the sun will still play a role. But the dramatic ebb and flow of ocean tides as we know them will become a thing of the past.
So we're talking about a future Earth where the days are super long and the tides are barely noticeable. That's a pretty different picture from what we're used to.
It is. These changes will happen over incredibly vast stretches of time, so we won't see them in our lifetimes. But it's fascinating to think about how the dynamics of our solar system are constantly evolving, even on these almost imperceptible timescales.
It makes you appreciate the delicate balance that exists in the universe, doesn't it? Everything is interconnected and constantly changing. Even the things we take for granted, like the length of a day or the rhythm of the tides.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of scientific study and observation. By understanding these cosmic processes, we can not only appreciate the beauty and complexity of the universe, but also anticipate and adapt to the changes they bring.
This deep dive has been quite the adventure. We started with the Atacama Alien, a tiny skeleton that sparked a global fascination with extraterrestrial life. We explored the mysteries of the Atacama Desert, a place where UFO sightings and scientific discoveries intertwine. We ventured into the realms of time travel, other dimensions, and the search for life on distant exoplanets. We even touched on the potential threat of solar storms and the ever-changing dynamics of our own solar system.
It's been an incredible journey, hasn't it? From a 6-inch skeleton found in the most arid desert on Earth, we've explored some of the most profound questions that have captivated humanity for centuries. Are we alone in the universe? What is our place in the cosmic order? What does the future hold for our species?
It's mind-boggling to think about all the mysteries still out there, both here on Earth and in the vast expanse of space. But even without all the answers, what have we learned from this deep dive? What should our listeners take away from this?
I think the most important takeaway is that the universe is full of wonders. There's so much we still don't know, so much left to discover. The Atacama Alien, in its own way, is a symbol of that. It started as a mystery that sparked wild speculation. But through scientific inquiry, we've come to understand it in a new light.
And even though we've debunked the alien theory, the story of the Atacama Alien continues to spark our curiosity and remind us that the universe is a place of infinite possibilities.
It encourages us to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep searching for answers. It reminds us to approach the unknown with both a sense of wonder and a healthy dose of critical thinking.
Beautifully put. Well, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into the Atacama Alien and the mysteries of the cosmos. We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we did.
And remember, keep looking up at the stars. You never know what you might discover.
So we've talked about how the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth. What's up with that? And what will it mean for us Earthlings in the long run?
It's a fascinating phenomenon, really. The moon is moving away from us at a rate of about 3.8 centimeters per year, a consequence of the gravitational interaction between the Earth and the moon.
Wait, the moon is getting further away. Does that mean one day it's just going to, piece out of our solar system? Say on our Earthlings?
Not quite that dramatic. The process is incredibly slow. But over millions of years, this gradual drift will have some noticeable effects. For one, our days will get longer.
Longer days. Sign me up. More time for deep dives. But seriously, how will that work?
Well, the moon's gravitational pull is what creates tides on Earth. As the moon moves further away, its influence on our planet's rotation weakens, causing the Earth's spin to slow down. This means that eventually a day on Earth could last for weeks or even months.
Whoa, that's trippy. Imagine a day that lasts for months. Talk about a long work week. But what about the tides? Will they disappear altogether?
Tides will still exist, but they'll be much weaker. The gravitational influence of the sun will still play a role. But the dramatic ebb and flow of ocean tides as we know them will become a thing of the past.
So we're talking about a future Earth where the days are super long and the tides are barely noticeable. That's a pretty different picture from what we're used to.
It is. These changes will happen over incredibly vast stretches of time, so we won't see them in our lifetimes. But it is fascinating to think about how the dynamics of our solar system are constantly evolving, even on these almost imperceptible timescales.
It makes you appreciate the delicate balance that exists in the universe, doesn't it? Everything is interconnected and constantly changing. Even the things we take for granted, like the length of a day or the rhythm of the tides.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of scientific study and observation. By understanding these cosmic processes, we can not only appreciate the beauty and complexity of the universe, but also anticipate and adapt to the changes they bring.
This deep dive has been quite the adventure. We started with the Atacama Alien, a tiny skeleton that sparked a global fascination with extraterrestrial life. We explored the mysteries of the Atacama Desert, a place where UFO sightings and scientific discoveries intertwine. We ventured into the realms of time travel, other dimensions, and the search for life on distant exoplanets. We even touched on the potential threat of solar storms and the ever-changing dynamics of our own solar system.
It's been an incredible journey, hasn't it? From a 6-inch skeleton found in the most arid desert on Earth, we've explored some of the most profound questions that have captivated humanity for centuries. Are we alone in the universe? What is our place in the cosmic order? What does a future hold for our species?
It's mind-boggling to think about all the mysteries still out there, both here on Earth and in the vast expanse of space. But even without all the answers, what have we learned from this deep dive? What should our listeners take away from this?
Well, I think the most important takeaway is that the universe is full of wonders. There's so much we still don't know, so much left to discover. The Atacama Alien, in its own way, is a symbol of that. It started as a mystery that sparked wild speculation. But through scientific inquiry, we've come to understand it in a new light.
And even though we've debunked the alien theory, the story of the Atacama Alien continues to spark our curiosity and reminds us that the universe is a place of infinite possibilities.
It encourages us to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep searching for answers. It reminds us to approach the unknown with both a sense of wonder and a healthy dose of critical thinking.
Beautifully put.
Baffled.
That wraps up our deep dive into the Atacama Alien and the mysteries of the cosmos. We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we did.
And remember, keep looking up at the stars. You never know what you might discover.